Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and all things above and in between. I am one of your hosts, Obsessive Reader Love, welcoming you to the Own Tempo Pokemon podcast. I am joined by...
I'm Loreweaver.
And...
I'm Teddy, or Teddy Arrives, or Theo Arrives, or Zeo Man, depending on where you're looking.
And we are here today to discuss the 5th generation of starters. Because
I'm
I accidentally
excited.
said Own Tempo a little bit too early. It's okay. I forgot the order. It's not a big deal.
We're just going at our own tempo.
Exactly.
Hey.
That's the joke. That's the joke, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't get the joke already, that's the joke. So we're here today to discuss my favorite region of Pokemon and the starters that are within it, which are a set of my favorite starters.
I think this is the second strongest set of starters in the series after Gen 2. I really like Snivy and Tepig a lot.
Yeah, for me the sets are like Unova's at the top, Jota's right there below it, and then like Paldea and Alola are tied at like 3rd place. I'd have to go through it a little bit to make sure, but those are like the top 3 groups for me.
Alola's probably my 3rd.
Alola's great, yeah. Okay, so let's begin with Smugleaf. Smugleaf
I
himself.
love Snivy. This is my favorite grass type starter.
Snivy's great.
Snivy is delightful.
He sucks in the games that he's in. he's easily the worst choice, and like the moves that he gets, the way that he gets them are just they're not very good.
I mean, in single player, in multiplayer, Leaf Storm Contrary.
Well, yes, but that no, I'm talking specifically about Gen 5. He's good in every other generation. Like if you get one, but you just can't really do that most of the time. But like there are ways to get them. In Gen 7, you can get starters via Island Scan, which is a fun little feature that we can discuss some other time. You can get them during like the main story, which is very fun. But I have used a Snivy in like some Wonderlocks in like Gen 6, and he's actually he's perfectly fine in those. It's just that in Gen 5 specifically, the order in which he learns moves is not very good, because Vine Whip in that game only had 15 power points, and
yeah, they hadn't buffed that yet. Damn.
And it was only 35 power. So like
damage.
Yeah, so it was very difficult to actually use it. It was the weakest of the type moves that everybody got. And then it got Leaf Tornado, and then after that it really didn't get a ton of like super good moves for a little bit. And then once it got through like to getting Coil, it was like fine again. But
was Leaf Blade in Gen 5?
Yeah, it got Leaf Blade, and but like Leaf Blade isn't super good until you get Coil because it's more of a special attacker. But like mostly it's defensive. All 3 of the Unova starters.
I'm looking at its stats. It's got 75 attack and special attack. The weird thing is it's defensive. Its defense and special defense are 95.
Oh yes, it's a defensive Pokemon. All 3 of the Unova starters are tanky. Snivy happens to be fast and tanky, so its whole thing is that it can set up its like coils or what have you before the opponent can do anything, and it can go from there, which is actually very cool and a very fun play style that I enjoy, which is another reason why I really like it. But in terms of but it is kind of difficult to use. It actually functions very similar to Trubbish, which is funny. It's another Pokemon that it is a little bit hard to use.
I've never used Trubbish, so this will be an interesting thing to hear about.
So Trubbish also, mostly it has like high HP, but its highest stat besides HP is speed. Its defenses are like, they're fine, and it's not very good at offense. Let me pull up Garbodor.
It's a little dust bunny.
Yeah, Garbodor is like shockingly fast given its situation. Like, okay, never mind. Its defenses are higher than its speed, but its speed is still like fairly solid for what would seem to be like a very defensive Pokemon.
Yeah, Garbodor looks like it should be Snorlax slow.
Yeah, it's got 75 base speed, which isn't great, but it's not terrible.
I
It's
mean,
actually pretty solid.
Hey, the garbage always piles up faster than you expect it to.
That's true. That's what stockpile's all about, baby.
Stockpile has to have the greatest variety of meaning between Pokemon that get it.
Yep, it's very funny. I appreciate it. So the fun thing about Trubbish and Garbodor is that they're physical attackers that mostly learn special moves. But
Always gotta hate that.
But once they get Gunk Shot, then, you know, they're not doing so bad.
Gunk
Holy
Shot's
shit,
120 power, can poison with like 80 accuracy, is that it?
Correct, yes. It's only got 5 power points. It's like Focus Blast. It gets Cross Poison? When the hell did it start getting Cross Poison? I mean, I guess Cross Poison's only been like a TM for so long, but like it's not in Scarlet and Violet, but in Sword and Shield it got Cross Poison. That's very strange. I did not know that.
Wild.
That's like way better. That's like way better than most of the stuff it gets. Because like for most of the game it's stuck with like Sludge Bomb or something, and special attack is its weakest stat, unfortunately. But yeah, so Snivy kind of works on those rules where it sets up its coils and then starts hitting stuff once it can start hitting stuff pretty powerfully. It moves before everybody else, so it's pretty good. It's
the Servine.
What?
Final Fantasy 14 stuff.
Oh, okay. Shout out, by the way, to the fact that they are snakes, but Superior has arms.
Yeah, they're just.
I never knew that Superior had arms until like 3 months ago.
It's very fun though. I love it because it's got it crossed behind its back like a fancy man. Superior's great. The regality really comes through, and I think that it works really well.
Wow, Superior's shiny sucks.
It's just a slightly different tone of green, right?
No, it's like bright lime.
Yeah, I think it looks fine.
With dark blue accents.
Yeah, I think it works fine. I like it.
Hang on, let me post the image in our chat so you can see Teddy.
That's fine. It's a shiny Pokemon.
I don't hate
They're
it
gonna
at
have
all,
loud
honestly.
designs sometimes.
It looked better in Gen 5. Like the sprite colors are a little bit less eye searing, but I don't hate this. I don't hate it
fair
either
enough.
way. Like, this is what the sprite looks like.
Oh, that looks way better.
It looks very regal. It's got like the regal indigo kind of vibes, which I think works.
The problem with the transfer from 2D to 3D is that a lot of Pokemon were designed specifically to work in 2D, and they're awkward and weird in 3D.
But nowadays, like, a lot of Pokemon are designed for 3D, so trying to put them into 2D games for fan games, like, this does not look correct.
I think that's more of a problem of art style. Like, Pokemon has a very consistent art style made very professionally, and a lot of fan games use good art, but not very coherent art.
Well, it depends. Like, if you look at like the Pokemon Showdown sprites that they use, like the Smogon ones, they're all very consistent, in my opinion. But some of them, it's like, oh, this is not meant for this vibe exactly. But what were you saying, Teddy?
I do like that recently they are reworking some of the 3D models they have for beloved Pokemon to make them feel more in line with their early 2D depictions.
I do appreciate
especially the
that,
Kanto starters.
Yeah, those are the big ones.
I'm still annoyed by Bulbasaur's color.
That's fair.
I mean, to be fair, Bulbasaur's color has been all over the place since the beginning, and when they did like restorations to the faded tones of early Bulbasaur arts, it's in line with recent Bulbasaur colors.
Yeah, but he just looks so much better blue.
He does. I know.
I don't know.
We went over my whole deal with that in our Gen 1 episode, I think.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So another way in which the Gen 5 starters are great, every single one of their middle stages looks good. Like, Servine is arguably a little bit awkward looking, but he bridges the gap between the two, like, extremely well. I mean, he still looks very smug and regal.
I am famously the funny middle stage defender. Like, when we get to Gen 6, I will defend the hell out of a certain middle stager.
I know exactly which one, and I love him too. He's great.
Yeah, he's a little squire in armor, but yeah, like, Servine's definitely the weakest of the three in this case, but that's fine.
He's still got, like, the fancy collar that goes into Superior's fancy collar. He's got, like, his little legs almost look like he's wearing boots. It's great. He looks great. I think he looks perfectly fine.
Servine's definitely one of the better teenage evolutions, but he still has the teenage evolution syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most forgettable middle evolution is probably Charmeleon.
Poor guy.
Out of the starters, at least.
Yeah. And then Superior is just perfect. It's 100% just like, oh, it's got the fucking, like, it's got the fleur-de-lis kind of vibes on it, like to match the fact that it's a grass type. It's got the fancy collar that, like, looks like it's, and, like, the ears kind of, like, accentuate the collar. It's so perfect, and, like, the little bit of gold patterning. It's like, it's doing exactly what it needs to do. It is a grass snake that is looking down its little nose at you.
Superior looks like it's happy that it's about to hit me with Contrary Leaf Storm, and I cannot blame it for this.
It's
Wait,
very
Superior
very...
gets Contrary? Oh wow, it does.
Yes, I think it has since Gen 5.
Yeah, Leaf Storm is really the only thing it gets that's, like, useful for that, but, like, you know, whatever, right? Because, like, the whole thing about it, right, is that normally it goes fast so that it can set up. It gets a ton of buffing moves, but Contrary makes those bad for you instead, so it's like,
But it also makes Leaf Storm a buffing move.
It's true, and then you can just go first with Leaf Storm and go brah.
Make it a torch song.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
God, we'll talk about Torch Song when we get to Gen 9, but...
It's better than Torch Song. It raises it by 2 stages.
Yeah, but it's inaccurate, right?
A little bit, yeah. If I remember right.
And, you know, if it's not 100%, it's 50-50.
Fair enough. But it's more powerful. And so you just use Leaf Storm, like, once, and then you can swap to Giga Drain if you need to.
Start slurping.
Or whatever else you want.
Slurp, yeah. I like Superior a lot. It's such
very solid.
It's a big departure from the other starters, right?
It's true. It's not really bipedal at all. Like it's one of the least, like, humanoid out of all of them. Like,
which is
like,
very
even
nice.
Like, you know, like Venusaur is very much like, the grass starters kind of tend towards it a little bit more, I feel like, but it kind of depends a little bit. Because, like, Sceptile is fairly humanoid, but, like, Swampert kind of isn't humanoid. It's fairly humanoid. It stands on 2 legs a fair amount. So, like, all of the Gen 3 starters are kind of humanoid. And then in Gen 4, you've got Torterra, who's a big turtle boy, so he's very much not a humanoid. And then, like, you've got a monkey, and then you've got, like, a penguin that is very humanoid. And in this game, you got 2 that aren't really that humanoid at the end, although, like, although the Oshawott starts out kind of that way. But then we got Tepig. Tepig, who has had one of the most interesting fandom arcs, because I feel like everybody hated this thing. And then, like, now everybody's like, yeah, everybody hated this thing. It's like, why is it a pig? It looks so dumb. Oh, it's another firefighting type. That's so stupid.
Speak for yourself, motherfucker.
Yeah,
no.
I love Tepig.
No. I am saying that is the general vibe of the fandom.
Yeah, people were mean to Tepig.
I agree with the firefighting fatigue, but Tepig and Emboar are great.
I was pretty neutral to, like, I was like, what, I was just kind of like, didn't really see a reason to, like, to super go against that. And then I took another look at Embor, and I was like, actually, no, he's kind of cool looking. And then I used him, and I was like, actually, no, this is pretty fun, actually.
I can't remember whether I used Superior or Embor in my playthroughs of Black and White and Black and White 2, but either would have been good. I like them both.
They're both very solid, and I Pig Knight, like, at first glance, he's kind of got that weird, like, the sort of awkward vibe. But actually, no, he's like, solid. He's a little wrestler guy. It fits perfectly into the line. He, like, especially in his, like, action pose and, like, the art and everything, he just looks extremely ready to go. And he's very, like, rough and tumble. Yeah. And I appreciate him. I think he looks pretty solid.
He was definitely on my list of consideration when it came to making my, my love Pokemon stream Sona. When I was going through options, I was like, well, Pig Knight's a possibility, but I ended up going with Minccino. Or Cinccino. Right?
Yeah, and you can see, like, it like, there's a lot of other art, like, in the manga and stuff. I didn't watch the Unova anime because it's not that good. Like, it has aspects to it, but, like, it's not great. There are, like, but, like, Ash does have a Pig Knight, and it's one of his more interesting characters in it. And so you get to see it. You get to see it go around. I'm looking at this panel from Pokemon Adventures. It's just like, oh wow, he's like a little action guy. He's cool.
I just remembered that one clip from the dub where it's like, go Servine, and Servine comes out and says Servine, and Ash is like, what Pokemon is that? And then it says Servine again, and then it cuts to, you know, out and then back in with the who's that Pokemon, and then it's Servine, and then Servine says its name again after I go back to the footage, and it's like, all right, it's Servine.
To be fair to Ash, I have plenty of times when I'm looking at a new Pokemon, seen its name and go, ooh, what is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. But, like, I mean, it's not like Unova is the only season where stuff like that happens.
It's great.
So I'm not gonna...
Oh, I'm not meaning it negatively. I'm delighted by it.
So the fun thing about Embor, right, is that Embor and Infernape are both references to Journey to the West.
Uh-huh.
They've got the same color symbolism and everything. They've even got, like, similar, like, the swirly patterns are very much aligned.
Well, yeah,
so,
it's like how they used to depict, or not used to. It's like how they depict clouds in old Chinese stuff that's stylized.
Yeah, and so he's got the fact that the fire beard on Embor is also great. He just very much looks like a brawler. He's very cool. I like that they mixed in the Pigsy thing with like a pro wrestler.
I like how they did that with Infernape better, but it looks pretty rad on Embor.
Yeah, I think that Infernape and Embor definitely feel like they go together, and you could definitely see Infernape fucking pestering him and outmaneuvering him when he tries to strike back and stuff. But then, like, you can also see them fucking pranking somebody together and, like, eating a whole bunch of food. They look like they would be you know, what vitriolic best buds. That's the trope.
Like in Journey to the West.
Yes, I love Journey to the West. I find it so fun.
I mean, it's very reasonable for you to like Journey to the West. It established a large amount of storytelling tropes that are present in most of the media.
It's true. It's very similar to how, like, when I discovered Pride and Prejudice, and I was like, oh, this is where it comes from.
I've never read Pride and Prejudice. Should I?
I didn't never actually technically read it. I watched the BBC miniseries. Which is very good, and I highly recommend it. But I'm sure that if I read it, I would also like it. I've seen excerpts from it. Jane Austen's a great writer. Yeah, so like, I would recommend it, but I like the miniseries is very good. I watched it in class. Like, we were watching it for educational purposes, and I was watching it, and I was like, wait, this is great. Wait, you've got, like, a sassy lady who's, like, very witty and cool, and a guy who's, like, an awkward turtle who likes her but, like, can't really get over himself because he's got, like, all these problems, and they start out not liking each other, but then, like, they wind up helping each other to become better people. I'm like,
so what you're telling me is Lady Infernape and Dude Embor romance, Pride and Prejudice style.
not sure. Like, I can see that, but, like, I don't know if that quite fits. I feel like more it would be like a Superior and something else.
Superior
like,
and Embor. That's cute.
I don't know if it would be a Superior and Embor. I don't feel like Darcy really doesn't.
Fine, edge Embor out of my funny little literary fantasy. Whatever.
No, I think it's no. I understand. I'm sorry. I just like Embor to me is a lot more straightforward and stuff than than a Darcy would be for me. That's just my own personal thing.
I guess my
you
form
kid, by the way, because you said they were all defensive, but Embor has 123 attack and 65 defense.
Yes, what I meant by tanky, I said they were all tanky.
Ah, okay.
Look at his
he does have an HP
stat.
stat of 110.
Yeah, so he's got the HP. He's like they're all tanky in different ways. So like Superior is fast and sets up a lot of stuff. Embor is tanky because he has a ton of HP. He does a lot of recoil moves. His that's what his you can see his hidden ability is also reckless. And so he's more offensive than anything else, but he is very good at taking hits as well because of his high HP stat. And then if you look at Oshawott and Samurott, they are much more traditionally tanky in that they're more well balanced. The whole thing about Superior Samurott is extremely good balance. He's got good attack, good special attack, good HP, good defenses. He's not very fast, but like that's fine. He's just very well balanced water type, and I really like Samurott. I really like Oshawott. It's my favorite of the three.
Samurott's also another starter that is less anthropomorphized than a lot of them.
Yeah. So like Oshawott and Duat is one of the best middle evolution starters.
I'll agree with that.
In the entire like history of it. Like he's arguably like he's one of those ones where people are all like, "Oh, Samurott's so disappointing. Why did they have to make it quadrupedal? It doesn't work." But like I think that it works because I think that works fine. Like Samurott can stand up on its hind legs and it works well as a like the idea of taking a. Yeah, it's not like super good at it, but it can rear back and slash with its swords.
Top heavy.
Yeah, it's very similar because it's a sea lion. If you've seen a sea lion, do sea lion things, it is very very similar.
It argues with people online in bad faith. I see.
I guess so. Yeah. But I think that I've always thought that Samurott looks very cool. The facial hair, the samurai vibes is just, it's immaculate.
I think it's visually, I don't think they're that similar, but visually it reminds me of Swampert, and it feels like a lesser Swampert.
They are kind of similar in like their stance and their overall like protective vibes, I suppose. But like, I don't know.
Also, I never realized it had facial hair. I had never seen this thing from the front before. So I didn't realize it had facial hair. I thought it just had a snout.
Yeah, and then like with the Hisuian one, they barely changed anything. They just made it edgier, and I appreciated that, honestly. I was like, no, yeah, this is an extra, like, it's just the right amount of extra detail. And I like it a lot. It's like the facial hair is a little bit like more unkempt, and everything's got a little bit like blood stains because it's a Ronin and it's like killing people. Fun fact: Night Slash is named after the practice of samurai testing their blades against random hapless citizens.
Yeah, the Japanese name is crossroad killing.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yes.
A little dark for a Pokemon game, though, so I see why Nintendo of America didn't carry that over.
Well, I don't know if it was Nintendo of America exactly, but like a lot of things in Pokemon are darker than you expect. So, you know, I mean, like, let's talk about Mimikyu for a second. We'll get to that later. Like, you know,
we'll get to Mimikyu
Pokemon,
when we do the Pika clone episode.
Yeah, Pokemon has always done.
I was about to say it's not a Pika clone, but that would be very disrespectful to Mimikyu if I said that. So
yeah, it works to include it.
Yeah.
So the Oshawott, obviously Ash has an Oshawott, and he's one of the more likable characters. Like he's one of the more memorable characters in the anime.
Oshawott's pretty cute, but he looks like Bozo the Clown.
I've never found his clown nose to be a deterrent.
He's got the little hair things.
Those are his ears.
Yeah, but they look like clown hair.
I've never thought that before in my entire life. He looks like a silly little... I mean, like, maybe it's supposed to because he's a silly little guy.
He does look like a silly little guy, and I like him.
He's very fun and cute.
But
and
he's a clown.
Do you remember Duat is so cool.
Do you remember?
I love Duat so much.
When they released the silhouettes of the Gen 5 starters,
oh yes,
people made little illustrations. Jokes. Do you remember Chestnut Duck?
I do remember Chestnut Duck.
I do not. I was not tuned into the online Pokemon scene at that point.
Somebody, as a joke, made illustrations about what each of the silhouettes could be, and
I was never like exposed to it in the wild at that time, but like once the stuff came out, everyone was like, "Remember this asshole?" And I was like, yes, I do. Yes, people are fucking weird on the internet."
It was so funny.
I was like, that was the main takeaway from it.
Oh, so that's why people were doing that with like later gens.
Yeah, the silhouette joke to make it very to do silly silhouettes is all thanks to the Gen 5 starters. It's where they started.
Huh.
I think
even before the Gen 5 starters, they were doing that thing that they were doing with Hitmonchan. It's Gen 1 sprite.
Oh yeah, that's also fair.
Yeah.
Huh. So, what's defensive? What's tanky about Samurott?
Well, it's just got really high HP and pretty high defenses. Like it's much more traditional in terms of being more defensive, but it's also fairly offensive as well. It's very well balanced, like I said. If you look here, like its attack and special attack are very high, but its HP is also very high, and its defense and special defense are not slouches. It's just very all-arounder, which is fairly normal for water types. A lot of them are like that. Bulky, a little bit bulky, good at dealing out damage sometimes.
Also, I realized on reflection, earlier we were talking about thinking of Embor as very straightforward, and I realized that my impression of Embor was from, I was like 16, 17 when Gen 5 came out, I think. And around me, like 14, a lot of gay bears were imprinting on Embor and identifying with it. So I just sort of got the, awkward and meek personality imprinted onto Embor because of that.
Huh. Well, I just associate him with the pig demon in Journey to the West.
Oh, little bastard.
So, like, he's just like,
Is that where Oolong from Dragon Ball comes from?
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Yes, Dragon Ball.
I haven't watched
Dragon Ball is Journey to the West, but funny.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much Journey to the West it was.
Yeah, so Pigsy is, he's... So all of the members of the cast of Journey to the West are, like, aspects of humanity, because, like, it's an allegory. It's a very long allegory for like, the journey to enlightenment. So Pigsy is the vices of humanity. So he's gluttonous, and he's impulsive, and he thinks he's better than everybody else. But, like, he's not necessarily a bad guy. He still, like, is friendly and, like, doesn't like... He gets along with everybody and everything. He's not, like, evil. He's just kind of dumb, I guess.
A little bit of an asshole.
You just described Sun Wukong, except extra selfishness.
No, yeah, that's basically the dynamic, you see. Like, the dynamic is that Pigsy is everything that Sun Wukong is, but less cool.
So it pisses Sun Wukong off really bad.
And also Sun Wukong pisses off Pigsy real bad, because it's like, I want to be that cool. And Sun Wukong is smarter than Pigsy in, like, a lot of ways. Like, Sun Wukong is impulsive, but he's also very smart. Like, he like, starts realizing the structure of the narrative, and is like, when people are all hit, like, at one point, some gods disguise themselves as, like, human beings to give him bad news, and then they reveal themselves after he, like, takes it well, and he's like, why did you disguise yourself? And they were like, well, you see, you tend to do really, really bad things when you get angry. Would you want to deliver yourself bad news? He's like, no, yeah, that's fair. Thanks.
God, I just remembered that there's a Lego cartoon where Sun Wukong is voiced by Sean Schemmel.
I don't know who that is.
That's the voice of Goku in Dragon Ball Z.
Okay, that's great. That's great. I have heard of the show. I know that people like it, but, like, the fact that it's Lego is like, I don't know how well I could deal with that, because it's like stylized but also still Lego, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, if it was stop motion stuff like how Ninjago is, that would be one thing. But
Wait,
like,
Ninjago is stop motion?
well, no, stop motion style.
Oh,
it looks
okay.
very much like Lego still. But like, from what I understand, Monkey Kid is like 2D animated, but it's still Lego shaped, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just a little bit weird
Also,
for me.
I find it very entertaining that we'll say Sun Wukong and not Monkey a lot of the time, because Sun Wukong is the most familiarly pronounceable to Western speakers compared to the other characters' names. I cannot remember what Pigsy's actual name is.
It's God, I thought I knew it, but I don't actually, because they get mentioned in the video series that it's from. I know that like something Wu Qing, Xiao Wu Qing,
Something.
and then the
Does Sun Wukong just mean Monkey King?
I don't know. I think maybe it means something like stone monkey or something.
Yeah, he was born out of a rock.
Yeah, and then he gets like his fancy name from like his fancy Taoist like teacher when he goes off to try and become immortal, because you know, after ruling his monkeys and for a little while he has an identity crisis and pulls a Gilgamesh. And
it's not, to be fair, half of his immortalities aren't fully his fault. A lot of the time it was the Kingdom of Heaven trying to make him stop being a nuisance, and they made him stumble onto the immortality thing, and he impulsively just fucking ate it or whatever.
Yeah, so lore for reference, he's like 4 to 5 times immortal. He's consumed like one of them he found out the Taoist way to become immortal, and then at one point like the king of hell like kidnapped him, and he was like, well, this isn't correct, I should be immortal. And so he like broke out, and while he was doing that he was like, well, let me just scratch my name off of the ledgers of the dead, just to you know, make sure this doesn't happen again. So that's 2. And then he eats some immortal peaches, and then he drinks some immortal wine, which is like made from the peaches, and then he eats like an immortal elixir. So that's like 5. So he's like immortal 5 different times.
The most unkillable motherfucker in the history of fiction.
And they tried. Trust me, they try.
Really
and then eventually they realize, well, shit.
So that's why he's so nonchalant about things in Monkey Kid. The clip I saw was of them all about to drown in a submarine, and he's just lying there like, it's a little water's not a big deal. What are you guys freaking out? Oh, right, mortals.
Yeah. But also, there is notably, Monkey is not good at fighting underwater. He can exist underwater, but he's made out of stone, so he's not good at like maneuverability in water. And maneuverability is like the main way that he fights. So that's like one thing. He'd just be like, oh, all right, I'll just pop out of the water in a minute.
He would be a sweeper, is what we're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he'd hold a focus band and be really obnoxious about it.
Yeah, that's correct. That's what the headband is, you know. And Ash's Infernape has a whole like arc in the anime that is tied to like some of the Journey to the West stuff, because there's like a thing where his Chimchar goes into like this horrible rage in some instances, and so he has to like get it under control via the power of trust and friendship and shit.
As one does in a children's cartoon.
So it's like kind of tied into the vibes of like, oh, this extremely impulsive I had this extremely impulsive monkey who is like this crazy demon gradually learns to control himself, sort of thing. That's like the whole point of Journey to the West. He's not technically the protagonist, but he is like the main focal point of character for the reader.
It's so funny that he's not the main character of Journey to the West, but Journey to the West fucking loves Sun Wukong.
Like, it is kind of, because like I would argue that maybe he is like the main character, even though he's not the protagonist.
He's the Yuna of Journey to the West.
Sort of, yeah. I'm like, no, I mean, I feel like maybe he's the Titus and
maybe
and Tripitaka is the Yuna.
Anyways, Pokemon.
First off, it's
Oh, come
Tidus.
on. Yeah, but most people don't say that. But anyway, like for me, Oshawott is so ingrained into my personality because I picked him as my first starter in Gen 5, and Gen 5 is so tied to my identity, and so it's like he's just part of Gen 5 for me. I love Snivy and Tepig, but when it comes to picking one, I always default to Oshawott if I have the choice, which is why I have been randomizing it recently.
I was wondering, like, yeah, that's interesting. Love talks about loving Oshawott, and yet
It's because like I like using the other ones, but I have to like make myself not. When Legends Arceus came out, I was like, Rowlet and Cyndaquil, I love both of those, but Oshawott is there. He is like, other than Infernape, he is my favorite starter. It's Infernape, Oshawott, the Oshawott line, and then Mudkip. Those are the three. Those are the big three that I love more than anything in the world. And I just... most of it is me being a weeb. I'm aware of that. Samurott is cool samurai sea lion, but sea lions are also really cool, and otters are also extremely vicious and crazy, so it's very cool. Like I told you, I talked about the feud between black caimans and river otters in the Amazon, and They can be vicious little bastards, which fits the samurai vibe. They've got like a sense of honor, but also they were kind of assholes depending on the situation because they were nobility, and nobility are always a little bit asshole-ish if you let them.
True.
So it's hard for me to find other stuff to say about it. It's only been 40 minutes. We've got at least 20 more minutes to fill with something.
Well, let's talk about Gen 5 then.
If we ever need to.
Yeah, it's true.
Gen 5, Gen 5 is my third favorite generation.
So let me just, actually, before we get into it, let me just start. You, listening to this, there is a very large chance that you have not played Black and White 2. They were one of the worst-selling video games in the Pokemon franchise. Most people did not see the point in them because they were such a vast departure from the way that the series had released, like, expanded versions so far. So I need you, if you have not played Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, buy one or emulate it or do something. Play the game. It is quite possibly my favorite game in the series. It is one of the biggest RPGs of all time. There is so much shit to do in it, and I'm almost half convinced that it doing so poorly is why that they haven't been trying as hard lately, but that's like a separate conversation.
Well, lately, you mean for the past 13 years?
Well, anyway, like I don't know. It kind of depends, because like people also were like sort of disappointed with ORAS, and they were like, all right, well maybe we don't have to try then.
The thing about Black and White 2 is I think they're better than Black and White.
They are in a lot of ways. Some people prefer the story of Black and White to the story of Black and White 2, but I actually think that the story of Black and White 2, in terms of its themes, is more interesting. Although, like, arguably the minute-to-minute writing and like the pacing is maybe not as good as the original Black and White.
I need to replay Black and White and Black and White 2 because I'm realizing now that I have kind of a fuzzy memory of them.
Hey, you can tune into my streams where I'm nuzlocking them. I can pay more attention to the story.
I thought you were playing Black and White 1.
Yeah, I am, but like he said he wanted to play those too, so...
The thing a lot of people probably don't realize, tying into what Love was just saying, is that I think a lot of people think that Black 2 and White 2 are like Emerald or Platinum, and they're not. They're whole separate games. They're sequels.
Yeah, and like Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon also were sort of expansions, and people are like, what? But so like if you only know about those and you haven't played Black 2 and White 2, then you don't know that they are just full-on complete sequels taking place 2 years after the original Black and White. And they have no reason to do that, but like it gives them a reason to expand the Pokédex, which is a thing that people didn't like about the original Black and White. It gives them a reason to like add new areas, and it gives them a way to explore all of the characters that were present in a very interesting way, and it gives them a way to like genuinely explore the fallout of a evil organization that thought it was that a significant portion of its population thought they were doing the right thing. And that whole arc of the Team Plasma and the Team Plasma grunts who have decided to go one of two ways, and the conflict between them is so fascinating. I love a duality, like a duality in video games where you have to like consider the nuance of multiple sides of something, and it is. And Black and White 2 is arguably what got me started on that, because it is such an excellent portrayal, and it was during some very formative years for me.
Black 2 and White 2 are my third favorite Pokemon games. Pokemon gens of the main series. Probably my fifth favorite overall. But that's... like... Heart Gold and Soul Silver are games almost without flaw, right? Like,
they're very good.
They have no bad points really.
Like the only bad points that are part of them are the parts that were already kind of weak points of Johto, and like they fix some of them. So yeah, like it's for the most part, it's like for me, I feel like Black and White 2 is a more complete experience, and then ORAS, which I also rank above them, I feel like is arguably a better remake because Ruby and Sapphire are better than Gold and Silver originally were.
I can't talk about ORAS because I haven't played it. I keep starting Omega Ruby and not going anywhere. But
we really should play some Pokemon games together at some point.
Definitely.
Like I feel like it would be a very cool thing. Because like right now I am paying for you to play Strikers, but like once that ends, I don't know. I feel like maybe we could, because I know that you've got a lot of your stream stuff taken up by patron picks and everything, but I feel like we could make a thing happen where we do some Pokemon together.
Here's what we would probably do. So what'll happen when a new game comes out, or when I find a game that's old that I want to play through, and I have space in the month, is I'll set aside a week or two of time for that game in a row. And I think if I run out of major games to play, because I'll be busy through at least May, and then I don't know when Thousand Year Door is coming out, we might play Omega Ruby via emulator on stream for a couple of weeks, maybe.
Yeah,
we'll see about really cool your availability.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a very cool thing to do together. We could play through it like at the same time. I could stream mine, you could stream yours. People could choose which of us to watch, or watch both at the same time. I don't know. And then we could, after every gym we battle, that would be fun.
Well, that would be interesting.
Yeah, we could use the emulator software to like load our teams into Showdown and do it. That's how I've been doing it with other people I've been collaborating with. And I feel like genuinely, Pokemon is designed to do that. It genuinely improves the game so much to have somebody that you are playing it alongside. That's how I experienced Black and White 2 to a certain degree, but like X and Y and ORAS originally, when they came out, I did kind of experience them that way. And so I have a lot more positivity because of that. But also, like, the most recent generations I've been playing alongside, our server to a certain extent. And it's like, oh, yeah, we can talk about this and trade stuff. And, like, it's a marketing tactic to make, people buy more copies of the game because there are two different versions of it. But, like, fucking Christ, it works. It works real well.
It's a good experience.
It works extremely well.
There really is something special about Pokemon, right? Like, the way people have grown connected to it over the years, the way people have emotionally invested themselves in it and in the people around them that play it with them, is something truly special. Like, I was pondering this recently when there's that Chinese Dreaming of Good Times Pokemon animation about the Chinese New Year and a bunch of people traveling with their Pokemon and stuff. And I was thinking about that and the Acacia anniversary video from a few years back. And it's just, I've grown up with Pokemon. I started playing Pokemon when I was 10 years old, and I never stopped. And seeing these things be so domestic and loved and loving in their portrayal of life in the Pokemon universe moved me to the verge of tears. It's beautiful, and it's very personal. And I think a lot of people feel that way about Pokemon. And
this is something that I've been thinking about because of the Pal World situation, right? Because, like, people talk about how it's like, oh, it's like, it's showing Game Freak the stuff that they need to do with Pokemon. But, like, what exactly are they talking about? Like, what exactly do they want Pokemon to do? Pokemon is a JRPG series. It's got spin-offs that are other genres, but, like, all of the stuff that people talk about Pal World doing is, like, would it really be Pokemon anymore? Like, is it just the art style?
And is it within,
is it just
the
like the fact
interest of Pokemon to do that? Like,
well, by the way you're talking about Pokemon Snap wouldn't be Pokemon either. I think I think there's room for a game like Pal World where you're exploring an environment alongside.
No, what I mean is, right? What I mean is that people want the main series of Pokemon.
That's how
to
they're
do
acting,
that.
at least.
They want the.
Yeah.
Like they think that this is what Pokemon should be as like an entire series, and I'm just thinking like, well, first of all, play some of the spin-offs. Second of all, like. The game isn't even that fun after a few days. It's like the gameplay loop is apparently fairly limited, but that's a separate conversation. Like, Pokemon are story-based games. They make you engaged in a world that is like very specific and very well curated, and they can't do that if they're a like a survival game has different strengths than that. And if the games were just like based on that, I feel like it wouldn't be as easy. And if the games were less child friendly or more edgy, it's harder for that to happen as wide as Pokemon has done.
And for me, the thing that appeals to me about Pokemon on a gameplay level is that it is a multi-layered team building JRPG in which you pick the guys that you like or find an interesting way to use, and you engage in like multi-layered strategy-based turn-based combat with them. And so whenever I see people be like, Game Freak doesn't understand, this is what people want Pokemon to be. It's like, okay, then these people don't want Pokemon, they just want something
Which
else.
people?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
It's like, and then like there are other creature games, like play Monster Rancher.
Shin Megami Tensei, Monster Rancher, Yokai Watch.
I mean, like, Shin Megami Tensei is still turn-based, but if you want a game that is about raising critters that's not turn-based, like, Monster Rancher is right there. There's, like, arguably Ni no Kuni isn't real, but Ni no Kuni's still, like, a JRPG, so, like, there's like, aspects there. But I feel like if you want, like, Digimon games often are not like that. There are plenty of other options that are not Pokemon. It's just the Pokemon is the most successful gaming franchise of all time. So people think.
And I think that a lot of people are using Pal World as an excuse to vent their frustrations with, as consumers, they have developed a certain expectation about what they want from Pokemon as a game series, and they are not receiving it. So the moment something exists that is popularized and successful and has a little bit of edge to it and isn't like a kiddie game that they would feel embarrassed pointing at and saying, this is what I want from Pokemon, Game Freak, or this is what Game Freak doesn't understand we want from Pokemon. They use it as their like ship to jump onto to declare, here are all my frustrations with the series that I consume. I don't think they actually mean to make a meaningful comparison to Pokemon. I think that they're just upset and trying to voice their frustrations without getting the response of, well, you just keep playing Pokemon, you idiot. So,
like, here's the situation, right? It's like, what do they actually want out of Pokemon? And it's oh, the game looks good. And I'm like the only applicable complaint that people have that like Pal World embodies is that the textures are good.
Well,
except
no, that's
Palworld
not
also
true.
doesn't look that good in my IMO.
That's not even true, because what Pal World does is it lets you use your Pokemon for more than just battling.
Your what?
What?
Sorry, they let you use
The
your
pals.
pals.
Yeah, they're Pokemon. Let's be real.
Just say critters. Just say it lets you use your critters.
little
for
guy.
other
Yeah,
stuff.
it
And I mean, like,
lets you build a base and involve your Pokemon in the gameplay loop beyond having the distinction between exploration and battling. The Pokemon are woven into the gameplay loop of Pal World, and not necessarily in a
although
satisfying
not very
way.
well.
And not necessarily in a very satisfying way, but they are a part of it, and that's something that a lot of people do want out of a Pokemon game. And
I
the
suppose
thing
that's
is,
fair, yeah, but
there is a middle
there are
ground
spin-offs.
between Pal World and Pokemon, and it's Legends Arceus.
I don't know if that, because like maybe, like I do like Legends Arceus. I think that you're right about it, but like I remember there was.
I don't think
one of
Legends
the
Arceus
videos-
should necessarily be the main series of Pokemon. I like it. It's my second favorite Pokemon game after Scarlet. After I
There should be more. No, can I finish my
yeah,
thought
sorry.
really quick? So I remember going over one of the videos that was like, how copyright infringement are all of these designs exactly, and it was trying to make the case that, like, you know, people are allowed to think that that there are things about this that should be applied to Pokemon. And immediately they said, like, oh, Legend Arceus, people were so excited, and then it turns out that they got turn-based battles still. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
I like that. It's what I like about I don't want that to go away.
Like, I understand, like, if you want more action-oriented Pokemon combat, that also exists. We got a fighting game. We got Pokemon Rumble Blast, if you want that. There's options.
When I played Legends Arceus, I got extremely excited because I loved it to pieces. I loved how it played. I loved that you were more active in the process of catching Pokemon. I loved that they were present in the environment for you to interact with in a way that main series Pokemon games have never done. They are active concerns. You're wandering around. It's limited interaction. You throw stuff at them. You throw Pokeballs at them. But you can do things with them. That fantasy of walking up to a Pokemon and throwing a Pokeball at it that we've all had since we were 10 years old is real in Legends Arceus. And I will admit, for a while, I wanted a lot of the gameplay of Legends Arceus to be ported over to the main series. It's that much fun. I especially want the Pokedex stuff to be ported over to the main series. That would be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that Legends Arceus satisfies an urge or several urges that a lot of people have for Pokemon that they legitimately aren't going to get from the main series. And I think there's space for that.
I think, for sure, I think that it should continue as its own series.
Great.
I think that like, the whole idea of Pokemon having multiple, like, ongoing series is good. Like, it's a multimedia franchise. It should have multiple spin-offs that do a lot of different gameplay
Now
styles.
imagine if they just alternated between the gameplay styles and still did their game a year thing, but they had 3 separate development teams doing each of the gameplay styles.
Hire more fucking people, Game Freak.
It's such a weird situation.
Please, Game Freak, I swear to God, just let Pokemon acquire, just let Nintendo
The
acquire
vibe I
Pokemon.
get
from
Game Freak as a studio is that they desperately want to remain a small indie studio, but they also want to be the people making the games that are the most lucrative media franchise on the planet. And so you
can't do both, Game Freak.
So they
please.
play along with
Pick
Pokemon
one.
Company's game a year thing. And I think it's making them miserable, and maybe they need to either make an arrangement so that
just let the Pokemon Company become its own thing. Just separate yourself
that
from
or
it.
like
Let Nintendo
that
handle
or
it.
become the main series game guys and let it, like, release a main series game every 3 years and let another development team make the in-betweens games. Have it be like, okay, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Pokemon Legends, Pokemon Main Series game, Pokemon Mystery
and
Dungeon.
And you realize that people would be so excited to have a Mystery Dungeon game every few years. Like, regular releasing Mystery Dungeon games again would be like the greatest fucking thing you could do.
Is it?
For like a very
but also,
significant
I don't know
section
jack
of the
fuck
fan
about
base.
game development and planning, so this is all just like
Here's a question
from Teddy. So
here's a question:
There's probably like,
is it even
go ahead.
possible to oversaturate the market with Pokemon? Like, if you were releasing 2 Pokemon games a year using multiple studios, like Mystery Dungeon, Legends, Main Series, New Snap, all sorts of weird shit that you can do with Pokemon.
That's something to ask at like an economics theorist, because I don't know.
Yeah, like
and
people
like, again,
would
like, a
people
lot of
get tired of Pokemon?
It depends on the quality of the games and how quickly you're churning them out and how much time you give them.
Like, for a while during the DS era, there were tons of random ass spin-offs that people were just said that they were
Ranger
just
and
making
Conquest,
crazy
yeah.
Pokemon
ones of.
Troze.
And Pokemon Dash. There was like, so I really wonder, like, has something changed? Or I really think the situation is just that they are not prepared to make home console video games.
Yeah.
I feel like, because
people
like,
talk a lot
that's
about Sonic the Hedgehog's awkward adjustment into 3D to the point that it's a meme. I kind of feel it's the same case with Pokemon, except replace into 3D
I feel like they
with
handled
home consoles.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's the correct situation, I feel like. Because, like, Switch games are like, especially full price Switch games, are held to a different standard than a 3DS game would be. And it's like, and I feel like that's kind of them getting screwed over by Nintendo in a certain way, but like, that's not really Nintendo's fault either. I feel like Pokemon could be priced at a lower range, and maybe people would be a little bit nicer.
I blame the capitalist game development environment in which it's created.
Yeah, that's probably
I
correct.
blame specifically the Pokemon Company, because Game Freak doesn't set their own schedule. Nintendo doesn't set their own schedule. Nintendo publishes, Game Freak makes, and Pokemon Company rules the roost. Pokemon Company is the one that...
I don't know anything about them, is the problem. I should do more research.
The Pokemon Company is the one that sets the schedule. They mandate a new main series game every 3 years, whether it's fucking ready or not. Because they need to sell more Pokemon merch of new Pokemon. And nothing gets in the way of Pokemon Company selling new merch.
You know, with how lucrative merchandise apparently is for the Pokemon Company, I'm surprised it took them until, like, the past few years to actually make it so that they're releasing merchandise of every single Pokemon.
Well, I mean, like, some Pokemon just were not popular enough.
Yeah. Poor.
Yeah, poor guys. I like the monkeys. They're good. They're good children. The monkeys.
Never heard
the
of
elemental
the Gen 5
monkeys
elemental monkeys based off the Yankee archetype.
There should be a fan game with those as the starters. That would be fun. Give them a little bit of a boost. Give them a mega evolution. That'd be a fun premise for a fan game, I think.
Yeah, now I'm just imagining a Pokemon fan game that's just basically is like all of the Pokemon that are available in this game are the ones that are underappreciated.
They would have to like have graduated Dunsparce from that group. Because Dunsparce used to be like the main guy.
Well, Dunsparce is a legendary
now
Pokemon.
He's got. Well, yeah, and like that was the thing that like a lot of fan games, like if you ever played Pokemon Uranium, that's like one of the things that they did with Dunsparce. It was like if you get it up to level like 70, if you get it up, it's actually like 50 something. It learns like this cool dragon move and evolves into a dragon type.
Boo!
I think that
like
I think that Dunsparce the meme built up a lot of momentum in a way that's kind of detrimental to the joke. I think people started to miss the joke for what they personally thought would be cool, because Dunsparce has always been a meme. Like it was a joke that the Pokemon games were telling from the start. And I think that
this is the rarest Pokemon we can think of. It's not good.
It's not good. It's kind of doofy. It's useless and funny.
It's
and
basically
that's
like
the joke.
Yeah, it's looking for something that's like legendary and cool and finding a drunken old man. That's the whole joke of it.
Yeah, and I think Done Unsparse fits
good.
that perfectly. It is one of the funniest jokes that Game Freak has ever told. If you're open to discarding your own expectation of it being cool instead of funny.
I miss video games.
Like, I think that both are fine.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh,
Uh-oh.
It means we lost all of Love's audio.
Oh man, we had such a good discussion about Power World too. I will do the outro.
Okay.
Thank you guys for listening. This has been the Own Tempo podcast. Love can't do the outro because her computer crashed. If you're hearing this, she was able to salvage her audio. If not, we'll have to re-record this, and you won't be listening to me saying this, so why am I apologizing? Anyway, I've been Loreweaver.
And I've been Teddy.
And this has been the Own Temple podcast. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Have fun, stay safe, be brave enough to be kind, and get Pokemon. And if we lost all the audio for this recording and somehow you're still hearing it, welcome to the Lost Media Creepypasta Zone. Whoa! In 5 days, I'll come to your house and, I don't know, make missing no noises at you. I'll sing Female Symbol's Endless Song. Ooh. Have a good one, folks.
All right, bye, everybody.
Bye.